Real life 40-year-old virgins, what's your story? I lost my virginity at age 40. I had opportunities, but just didn't realize them at the time. Girls would come flirt with me, but I would just freeze and my mind would go blank. I'm very shy and quiet. I sometimes think I'm autistic, but have never been diagnosed or tried to get diagnosed. I always thought something was wrong with me, and I knew I wasn't normal. I also didn't drink a lot or party. I invited a coworker over to watch a movie one night, and she is also very quiet and shy. I'll let her take the lead and let it happen. That was 2 years ago, and we are engaged now. 42 here. I thought I had a date once. It wasn't. It sort of falls into 3 time periods. Age 17 to 25, I asked some girls/women out. They all just plain out said no except for the one. The last few years of the period, I stupidly started to ask why, and because you was the top answer. Until the one went on in more detail, and made me realized what because you meant, and I gave up. I threw myself into my studies, researched anything that interested me, and just read a lot about a lot. Age 25 to 32, I just didn't try. Continued my self-studies. Sure, there were women I would love to ask out. There was even one I did, quite to my own surprise. Of course she said no, and then some, but I was still me, and they would have said no. I had a demanding/abusive job from age 28 to 30 that took everything from me. I joined the gym at 30. Age 32 now, I lost 97 pounds between age 30 and 32. Took up yoga and running. I think I noticed women noticing me, but I had convinced myself women don't find me attractive, so I had to be imagining things. My workout routine has lessened since then, and I have gained back some weight, but thankfully more muscle than fat. I learned in my late 20s that I have a personality type that makes me hard to get to know, which means dating is particularly difficult. It was at this time I thought I was a high-functioning autist. I do have many, but not all traits of one. I've never been good at social stuff, so I have huge disadvantage in the sociality needed for dating. In the last 5 years or so, I began to wonder if I have social anxiety disorder instead of, or maybe in addition to, autism. And in all this time I've worked overnights, which adds another difficulty in dating. I get the idea that I'm the better than nothing guy, but I don't want to be the last option for someone. I'd rather like a woman who wants to be with me and not has to be with someone. I also don't think it would be fair to burden a woman with my quirks and foibles that I've gotten over the years. Also, the social stigma of being over 40 and never even having a date seems like an obstacle in itself. Not 40, but I know one guy who has a micro penis and is physically unable to have sex. Shame too, because he's decently good looking and funny, makes out with a lot of girls, is 6'3", etc. Completely normal, only know he's a virgin due to him admitting JT to me when he was drunk. He's early to mid 30s. Edit. He is a virgin in terms of vaginal intercourses. I assume he's done other shit. This whole comment section makes me think there needs to be a dating site for social awkward people. I would sign up in a heartbeat. I know a 34-year-old who has never even kissed a girl. Crippling social anxiety. Also hung up on a girl from 15 years ago who has never been interested. I saw a pretty tipsy girl come onto him at a bar once, and he almost jumped out of his skin. He was nude having that sheet. I've known socially well-adjusted good-looking dudes whose fear of getting rejected is so large that they will refuse to put themselves out there and flirt back, even if the girl initiated. Edit. And I know the girls are interested because they literally say your friend is cute. I was raised in a religious household, so I was taught to wait until marriage. I had many boyfriends, but I didn't sleep with them because of my vow of abstinence. I wore my promise ring until I was married at age 30. I married my best friend and soulmate. He told me he had performance problems, but he had also never had a girlfriend, and I naively thought that once we were together and naked, things would work out. Turns out I was wrong. He was completely impotent. I decided that I married him because I loved him and not for sex, so it was fine. We started talking to doctors to see if it could be fixed, but then he suffered a terrible brain injury. Now my husband is a paraplegic with many health problems. Weird thing is, after the brain injury he started getting erections. Normally this would be something to celebrate, but has in so much pain due to the paralysis that I can't exactly get on top of him. So here I am, a woman in her late 30s, a married virgin, taking care of her paraplegic husband, and I don't know what the future holds. Edit. Wow, I'm so touched by all of the kind words. I'm overwhelmed by the reaction, but also a little wary of the attention this comment is getting. I worry that someone I know may recognize my situation and then be made aware of our sexual problems. If it continues to grow, I may delete it, but before I do, I just want to thank everyone for all their kind words and for all the helpful advice. I'm truly touched. 3. A friend of mine is 39 and has never lost it. Has super religious, has had girlfriends, but never got married or anything, so he never had sex. Well, that's as far as I know. Maybe he has and is ashamed of it. Maybe has gay and is in the closet. Maybe has a sexual, I don't know. Normal beer drinking, playing video games, going to bars, and traveled the world sort of a guy. Decent looking but not great, has maybe a little out of shape, but I wouldn't call it ugly thing as he wants to be married before 6, and also has super, weirdly high standards. Like now that has his age he still won't settle for anything less than a Kate Upton that's ultra Christian. I've got a friend like this too, a little older and I think has had some one night stands, but never a relationship. Average looking guy, very successful career wise, but won't consider anyone that's not a supermodel, and then dismisses asking them out, because he'll always have guys hitting on them. It's some sort of self-sabotage, but I'm not sure why. He doesn't mope about it, or ask us to set him up. He just seems to enjoy being by himself. I know someone who was 33. Lots of reasons, religious/strict upbringing, meant no way to interact with the preferred gender until after high school. Overweight in college, which wasn't actually a problem for men finding her attractive, but it killed her own self-confidence, so she never recognized when men hit on her. Hard investment banking career meant working all hours and getting much fatter, so the cycle kept getting worse. Had lots of guys friends, but never recognized anyone hitting on her. Finally got in shape, got confidence, lost virginity at weight she was in college, when she thought she was fat. Ironic. When I start getting down on myself about my weight I think, I wish I was as fat as the first time I thought I was fat. I'd be 125 lbs. Body image and perspective are weird things. When I was in 6th grade, 125 seemed so enormous. Now, almost 30, 125 seems so frail for my height. I'm in my mid-40s, female. I have a congenital condition that isn't really that disabling in terms of what I can do, but has meant I look very different from other women, really fat from the way it disrupted my metabolism. Developed as a woman until around puberty, and then started developing about half and half male and female features. Also produced scarring, and a general unwell appearance, greasy skin and hair falling out. Even with excellent grooming, you can imagine how sexually repulsive men have found me. So, here we are. I expect to live the rest of my life alone, of course. At this point, I'm so broken from bullying and isolation that a relationship isn't even imaginable. Perhaps it's a blessing that my condition is associated with a shorter lifespan. My brother is 39 and a virgin. Honestly, I think the reason is because he's disgusting. He never cleans and basically leaves trash everywhere. He's also morbidly obese and is a recluse. He rarely leaves the house unless he absolutely has to. Hell, let things in his home go to absolute ducking sheet. Don't even try to imagine his bathroom when he lived by himself. However, let's humanize him and try to understand him. He has a legitimate eating disorder, was abused by his father, and has high functioning autism, has been depressed his entire life. He has incredible ideals. His general lack of cleanliness will never get in the way of his fervent desire to make sure nobody in his life ever goes hungry. He practically throws buckets of cash at other members of the family with kids because he gets emotionally invested in the kids' futures. He's very smart. He graduated high school at 15 with honors. He can talk about any obscure science or philosophy endlessly. He has a lopsided ego. He seems confident and secure depending on the subject, but in regards to his eating problem and body he hates himself and thinks he's disgusting. He never wants anybody to see him naked because he's deathly afraid of what they'll think. He's also deathly afraid of himself or what he might do in certain scenarios. For example, he got drunk for the first time when he was 35 because he was absolutely sure that he had a hidden and horrible violence that would come out. When he actually did get drunk, it was fine. Nothing bad happened. He gets socially exhausted. He goes to the grocery store like twice a week and feels like he can't handle being around people at all for a couple days. It's been an exceedingly slow process to get him out there to try things. I even dropped acid with him just last year. We loved it. He's growing as a person, just at different starting lines and speeds from most people. I was deathly afraid of getting pregnant and ruining my life as a teen at college, sort of the same, and then dated a religious guy for many years. That ended badly, and it took me a long time to get over it. Then a string of guys who I just wasn't into, and sex isn't something I want, just to get it over with. Then I went back to school and focused on that and my new career, and suddenly I'm 40 and never officially lost it. So here we go. If this does not fit here, then delete it. My friend of 40 years was a 46-year-old virgin. She had a strict Christian upbringing and wanted to stay pure for marriage. She had a long-time boyfriend that finally promised to marry her after her ultimatum from her. A few months before the wedding, he came out to her as gay. She is not the most attractive woman, but a great person. She is my longtime friend. She confessed this all to me and asked if I would please have sex with her. I struggled for weeks with this and made it clear that I was not wanting a relationship with her. She told me she was sick of not having sex and wanted to know what it all was like. So I finally did it, and yes, she was a virgin. It was relaxed, kind of methodical, and a bit funny. I talked a lot with her about sex and relationships. Anything she wanted to know or try was fine with me. She opened up an avalanche of questions she couldn't ask anyone. I was afraid on so many levels, but it truly helped her. She got extra self-confidence, moved through some relationships, and is now engaged. Weird but true. Still my friend. I'm sure Reddit will hate me now, but I hope if anyone is struggling out there, I just hope you can find someone to trust and open up. Pretty sure I know a 35-year-old virgin. He's creepy. Has the eyes of someone that doesn't see you. He just looks past you in a serial killer kind of way. Also, he only tries to date 18 to 22-year-olds. Combine this with his ultra-conservative religion and Greek family. Add a healthy dose of superiority complex. He asked a buddy to take HLM to the shooting range once. My buddy played it off, but then told me when he wasn't around that he didn't want to get Chris Kyled. I'm 37, so not quite 40, but the thread is kinda dead and people are answering at lower ages. I was born disabled, mostly affects my legs. I can walk, sort of run. Even taught myself how to ride an actual off-the-shelf non-adapted bicycle. A lot of it was just bad luck. Parents split up, changed schools, started getting bullied, home life was a mess. Going to school sucked. Ended up with depression and low self-esteem at a young age, and no clue neither of them were abnormal. Wandered through life for a decade before even realizing depression was a thing, and I might have it by now. I'm a senior in high school and missed lots of opportunities to date. Went to college because my state basically paid for it. If you graduated high school with a pulse and a B average. Depression still existed. Tried to get help, but didn't really understand counseling. Went to several. Most of them weren't helpful. Tried dating a friend once, but there was no spark. Also, she was a terrible kisser. Rushed a fraternity that happened to be co-ed. Met some cool people. Still friends with a few of them. Got really good at reading others if I was observing a pair of people interacting. Still not very good at reading people flirting with me. Became pretty close friends with one brother. Completely missed the signs she was into me. We maintained contact for the last 16 years, and last spring she said something silly but also flirty to me on Messenger. I asked another friend about it because I wasn't sure what to make of it. She said my old friend was flirting with me. I couldn't wrap my head around it, so I flat out asked, "Yep, she's flirting with me." It blew both our minds. She had wanted me to notice forever, and I had honestly never had a clue. She got married 6 to 7 years ago, but they've had problems since they were dating. They recently filed for divorce. She's moving in with her parents. who live about 25 miles away. I don't know how long it will take us to feel comfortable enough to be intimate with each other, but I don't think being a 40-year-old virgin is possible anymore. Hoping to kiss her by September. Edit. Her ex-husband is a 67 cop who is emotionally abusive, possibly bipolar, and they live in the same house. For now she can say we're just friends. I kiss her, and that goes out the window. He suspects we're seeing each other. Heck, he even suggested we date last summer. So things are weird. I'd rather wait till she and the little one are safely elsewhere before locking lips. If for some reason I do make it 40, it won't be for lack of a partner, and the way things are going I won't be the only one with blue bits if we have to wait another 19 months. She wants to take me to St. Augustine for my birthday next spring. I asked a month after my birthday this year. That's only 7 months away. Lots of barriers to break down and skin to explore if it happens by then, but as long as we're on that path and further down the road, we'll both be happy. Gonna marry her in a couple of years, but we want to enjoy each other for a little bit first and not rush into things.